do apologise if for the dropouts, but we can see that right about lap 7 we have got our correct savant in first, with Benjamin in second, Rayner in third, Quadruti in fourth, Maverick in fifth, Reagan in sixth. A lot of drivers gone into the pits to change their tyres. Let's have a look to see how. So they're all staying on the wet tyres. A lot of drivers made their stops. So we got Rayner, Quadruti, Cairo, Reagan, LH44, Drew, Sizen, Jim Stroud, and Dragon already made their stops, and we have a DNF for Carter, which is unfortunate to see. Now let's have a look to see how the position changes are. So provisionally we have, technically Rayner would be first at the moment with the two front runners having to pit if the tyres are running thin. At lap 6, lap 7 they would need to come in soon. We have Quadruti sitting behind him by 0.6 seconds, so it could mean that this battle could continue right on to the end, because those two front drivers may have to pop into the pits to get fresh tyres, or are they going to go brave and see if they can make this tyre last to the end, which is very difficult. Quadruti is within half a second behind, and the boot move up. Benjamin Carter has gone into the pit, so they are moving up into second. Craig Savant with 16 seconds in front of Rayner. Could he make this work and get into the pit and back out and still remain within the top few races? This is definitely a fantastic race in the rain. Magnus with a 3-second penalty. Just going to have a look at these penalties and see how they stand at the moment. So Quadruti with a 5-second penalty, that would be speeding the pit lane. Apex with 6-second penalties, that would be 2 infringements of the multiple warnings for Drew as well there. So that'd be track limits on 2 penalties for that. 2 penalties for Cairo for that. Reagan with a 8-second penalty, that'll be speeding the pit lane and track limits probably. LH44 has served his penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so that's probably why he is sitting down in 6th at the moment, but he will be closing that gap up to the front runners in no time at all. Reagan with an extra 3-second penalty, so that's putting him to 11 seconds. It does make a big difference if we look into the leaders. If we add 11 seconds onto the time for Reagan is behind our current leader, that will put him on 42 seconds, which pushes him right down to 11th. It is a big jump, and it's not something that people that you can really compensate for, really, with the circuit being wet and drivers all pretty much driving very similarly. So I do apologise to our current viewers who are watching the last stream. They're having to cut out because of a minor technical issue from my end. But we're back on, and we're back watching this race. Rayner taking first place, Quadruti in second. Rayner with a 1.4 second gap. Duty also go for 5-second penalty, which opens that gap even bigger. Apex in third, Cairo in fourth, Cairo with another 3-second penalty added on. Correct Savant in fifth, LH44 in seventh, and LH44 has made strides to catch up with Correct Savant. Correct Savant was actually provisionally first for a while, and now LH44 is hounding him, which means that as soon as LH44 gets past Correct Savant, he will be aiming to get back onto those podium positions. We have Drew in 8th currently, but he has got Benjamin Cardiff and Magnus all. Now the Magnus makes a fantastic move, but goes wide at turn 10. Let's jump on board and see how the run into turn 12 will be. So all these drivers have got penalties on them, so it will change the finish times for them, but could they overtake and make any compensation to how that will be at the end? Sizer is less than 3 seconds behind Magnus, so he could provisionally get a point scoring position, and all he has to do is just gently nudge it home. Jim Straff currently in 12th, doing fantastically well. And we got Kevin Jacobs is on Jacobs Motorsport in our league. A fantastic driver, and he loves sparring the rain, which means that he is proper gutted that he's not out there racing for the top places. So Jim Straff is one of his drivers. I would say that he's the Kimi Räikkönen of our circuit. I would say he's very smart, he's quite patient, and makes the move sticks when he puts it through. Correct Savant has gone into the pits. That's a new front wing, some fresh tyres, and then back out. Dragon on speed, sitting in 14th at the moment. Liam with a 3-second penalty. And Liam's picking up a few penalties left, right and centre at the moment. So he's got looks like he's had speeding through the pit lane, and probably 2 infringement for track limits. I just think it could possibly be the fact that he's just not getting to grasps with a wet circuit. Maverick with 12th with a 3-second penalty on top. Quite a smooth driver. He's got this, he's keeping that 3-second gap between himself and Jim Straff at the moment. And we spoke about Jim Straff. We've got Sizen in 10th at this very moment. Jacob LH44 is going to get P2 with all those penalties in front of him. I definitely would agree with you there. If we pop it onto the leader time and we add the times on, let's see. So it does look like he's going to get P3 definitely. And the way he's driving at the moment, LH44, he is bigger time on. He could possibly get P2. I could agree with you on that. His racecraft is very good. He has got 3 laps left to go to make a big change in that time. So he would need to cut off 10 seconds of it, 10 seconds out of his time to Kujuti to get that. Let's have a look. Kujuti is closing in on Rayner. We've got Cairo jumped into the pit, so he'll be jumping down. A great race for Cairo, but penalties and dropping into the pits then means that he's dropped out of the points. Magnus in 6th. What a race by Magnus. Now I'm going to, as position changes, so Rayners up 3, Call of Duty up 1, Apex up 2, LH44 is down 3, but he is battling up there to get there. He could be taking P3 from Apex shortly. We've got a yellow sector, sector 2, which looks like Sizen has spun off. I can't see if there's any damage to his. No, it doesn't look like there's any damage to his front wing, which is great news, but it does mean that he's dropped right down the pecking order and out of the points. I don't think that he's able to get the traction on those wheels for the circuit while it's still raining. So position change, so we're going on to Reagan, who's down 3. This is, Reagan's not comfortable in the wet, with a wet spar. Completely understand that it is a difficult race to navigate, especially in the rain. Let's go through chicane here and on to the penultimate lap. Magnus is not far behind him, but 6 seconds does look like a big gap. But when you start checking the penalties, he's got 11 seconds over Reagan, and Apex has made that move on the Kemmel Street. Apex still within touching distance from LH. LH44 with a 3-second penalty. I think you've cursed him there, Kevin. You've cursed him saying that with penalties in front of him he's going to get P2. You've cursed him. So now he's going to have to work a little bit harder now to get that P2. It'll be quite interesting to see how this race ends with these two front runners, whether Call of Duty manages to get P1 on track but lose it on penalties, which is looking quite possible with the way he is closing down this gap. Rayners struggling a little bit around 10-15, but puts it nicely through turn 16, and there it goes, opens up at the gap again. After the race, I will be speaking to some of the drivers and asking what setting they did run in qualifying, whether they went for setup 2, setup 3 or setup 4. Call of Duty's almost touching the back of Rayner, less than 0.4 of a second between them. They've got the same age tyres. Call of Duty wants this win in front of his home fans. Fantastic line from both of these drivers. Back end stepping out a little bit for Rayner, allowing Call of Duty to get the run on. And there we go, as you can see, he is passing Rayner on the hard late braking, wheel to wheel battling for both drivers, giving a bit of space to each other. And Rayner's managed to battle back in to that first place on the final lap as well. It's a fantastic battle. Looking down through the grid, Jim Strav looks like he could be putting a move on Drew very shortly. I'll jump down there in a moment. Lane with a penalty of 3 seconds again. Position change at the moment. Magnus with the biggest mover going up 6, excluding anyone who's going down, because we've got Dragon of Speed gone 6 and Correct Savant down 8. Accidents do happen, and that's why this may have happened for them. Quad Duty looking to make the on-track position happen. Yellow sector 2, just briefly, probably a driver's just got off track a little. So we're going through the final chicane. Rayner in first, a little bit of slip, but he makes it tidy through the turn 20. That's Rayner in first, Quad Duty in second. LH44 coming over the line in third. Is that a puncher on Apex? So we've got Magnus, who's got fourth, Reagan in fifth. Oh well, sorry, times are changing quite a bit. So as we go, we've got Rayner in first, Quad Duty in second, LH44 in third, Magnus in fourth, Jim Sharp in fifth, Reagan in sixth, Benjamin Cardiff in seventh, Drew in eighth, Maverick in ninth. See how it ends. Jim Sharp was driver of the day. See, that was, he's boosted up by penalties along with Magnus, and it's, in all honesty, I'd give it to, personally I think Quad Duty or Rayner deserves the driver of the day for this race. They both had quite a tidy race. Obviously Rayner very clean, no penalties. LH44 with a recovery drive after the penalties he received. Fantastic. So any of the top four deserves driver of the day. I would like to hear what you all think, who you think your driver of the day was. So I'm putting it out there. Top five has been recommended. Oh, well, Jim Southwood in fifth would have been recommended that. Okay, so we're just going to run through Rayner in first. Rayner in first, Quad Duty in second, LH44 in third, Magnus in fourth, Jim South in fifth, Reagan in sixth, Benjamin Cardiff in seventh, Drew in eighth, Maverick in ninth, and Dragon on Speed in 10th. So those places will get reversed. Ready for our next race. We've got Kyrie's 11th, Liam in 12th, Correct Savant in 13th, Matt Apex in 14th, Sizen in 15th, and Carter in 16th. Quite a lot of penalties were given out. Kevin goes for Magnus. I can agree with you. Magnus starting 12th, finishing 4th. Obviously penalties did come into play, changing those positions, because provisionally we did have Reagan in 4th. So we're going into race 2, which is our sprint race, a little bit shorter, and it looks like it's dry, so drivers such as Reagan can make the most of this, especially when he's starting further forward from drivers such as Rayner, Quad Duty and LH44. Magnus really happy with P4. Oh, P4. Is that equivalent getting lapped about 20 times? Maybe. Never know with Magnus. He's a bit of an entertainer, isn't he? So this will be a fantastic race to see, with the top 4 being quick drivers, sitting in the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. That's a good shout. It would not surprise me. Rayner through the field in race 2 for the win. So here we go for the warm-up lap. Drew leading the pack, followed by Benjamin, then Reagan, then Jim Straff, Magnus in 5th, Alex 4, 4 and 6, Quad Duty, Rayner in 8th, Maverick in 9th, Dragon Speed in 10th. So it was the top 8 that got flipped over. Cairo in 11th, Liam in 12th, Correct Savant in 13th, Apex in 14th, Sizen in 15th, and Carter in 16th. Now, any one of these drivers could technically really win. We have seen drivers starting far back and ending up in high points. Just look at Liam's drive. Liam nearly got put to pretty much at the back of the race and ended up fighting all the way back up to 3rd. And it was a 3rd without penalties, which is what was impressive. But he made the mistakes, he got the penalties, and that's why he was down there. So he made the battle hard for himself. So I do like Kevin's input with Rayner through the field in race 2 for the win. I'm going to go and jump on board a little bit with you on that, but I'm going to go with Quad Duty. I think Quad Duty's got the racecraft, and because he's in front of Rayner already, if Rayner can't get past him within the first 2 laps, Quad Duty for the win. But we'll see. We will see. Be a very interesting race to see, because this is where you want your fast drivers. You want your fast drivers behind a few drivers, but in front of others. So they're in the middle. They're in the pack. Where if they sit at the back, they can sit there and just take one person after another, after another. They can take their time getting through. Obviously, with 9 laps, you can't take that much time, but you can work your way through the pack. Where in the middle, you are surrounded by other drivers, so you've got to be very careful. You've got to make the moves stick. You've got to make it count. You've got to be clean, and that's got to be the factor. Who's going to be the cleanest out of the first 2 laps and ahead of your higher rivals will be the one to watch. Too many mistakes by Quad Duty when under pressure. Fair comment. But the F2 cars are quite forgiving compared to the F1 cars. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll still back Quad Duty, and I could see your points. Quad Duty has made mistakes in the past when he's under pressure, and Rayner has been exceptionally well in the last 6 races. So it'd be very interesting to see as we have a little look up and down the park. We want to see if we can see the lights. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. They're out and away we go. So we have Drew in first. Obviously graphics, ignore them at the moment while everything gets sorted, because everything's going like absolutely crazy. But Drew's actually opened up a gap already to Benjamin. Now, if any of you actually get to drive get a chance to drive around Spa in real life, in a real car, doing fair speeds, do it, because the feeling you get from Eau Rouge is amazing. You never feel it anywhere else unless you're on a roller coaster. That's what the kind of feeling is. Magnus is actually now in second. Magnus has made moves to get into second. Let's have a look at position change. Magnus up by 3, LH up by 2, Quad Duty up by 2, Rayner up by 1. So there's our the ones that we've got to be watching. They are making moves. Reagan's had a little bit of an edgy start and dropped down. Magnus in first. Magnus lap 1, turn 13, he's in first. Benjamin Cardiff in second, Drew in third after that mistake. LH44 battling to get third. He makes it. Does he make it stick? He does. Quad Duty behind Drew. Reagan. Quadruti is fading quite quickly. He is going down the pack quite quick. Let's see how Rayners evasive manoeuvre away from Drew. Makes him go off track. But he cuts in. Oh, a little bit of contact with Reagan. That was... Didn't have enough brakes there for that moment, but... Was there damage? Quadruti has phased out. Now, Quadruti needs to get back on, get that car back under control. And he does, but he's down at 9th. Okay. Oh, it says he's on 9th, but he's not. He's actually up with the front runners. More of our problems with the glitchy system. Thank you, Codemasters. Right, has this been sorted? Let's have a look. Quadruti first. LH44 right behind. In second. Benjamin Cardiff in third. Quadruti in fourth. Reagan in fifth. Rayner in sixth. Cara in seventh. Dragon of Speed in eighth. Drew in ninth. Leo in 10th. Sison in 11th. Apex in 12th. Correct Savant in 13th. Maverick in 14th. Chip Shaft in 15th. And Carter in 16th. Now LH44 battling with Magnus for that top place. Let's see how far our top drivers are from the front. So Quadruti is 1.7 away from Magnus, which actually means that we are quite close. Rayner is less than 3 seconds away, which is not a big gap, but we do have a yellow sector 2 and 3, which has been cleared up now, thank goodness. Going to ride on board with LH44 at the moment to see how it does. Magnus with a bit twitchy back end, defensively moving across. LH44 with 159.2. All the way on the outside. This is a brilliant battle. Quadruti is behind but not close enough to make any moves so far. Out of DRS range. Size and 5-second penalty for speed in the pit lane. And it's 4-4 on the inside. Magnus has no response to that, but tries to outbrake him. Almost outbraked himself. And Magnus is now just in front of his teammate. Now with team orders come into play, where Magnus would have to give that spot to Quadruti, because Quadruti at the moment is the faster driver. Magnus holding that line nicely, not giving any space, no open doors from Quadruti so far. Magnus harvesting a little bit of ERS, but the more these two battle, the more LH44 gets away, so it might be best. And Sison again spinning out this time on the Kemmel straight. Now Reagan has managed to get past Quadruti. Now Reagan has got great racecraft in the dry. I will say that he has got the ability to perform outstanding. So it'll be quite good to see how he does. Rayner making his way up through the pack. As we hit lap 4, Rayner taking the wider line, cutting in tighter to give himself a smoother run into turn 2 and onto Eau Rouge. Absolutely beautifully taken by Rayner here as he's closing Benjamin Cardiff down. And as we see, bye bye Ben. flies past Ben. DRS was open. And now he's looking to hunt down Coduti. Question would have been that I'll be questioning myself is that if Magnus allowed Coduti past when Coduti was on a good run, would Coduti be battling LH44 now, or would he still be sitting there and Magnus would still be sitting behind Reagan? Be quite interesting to see how that would have panned out, because Coaduti's here following Reagan quite nicely, and Magnus is battling hard to keep that second position. A little bit wide from Reagan there, giving him a 3-second penalty. That's unfortunate to see. It doesn't open the door up for drivers such as Coaduti to take those positions away. Rayners on Coaduti. Rayner has made it stick with Coaduti. But we're now on lap 5. How have we got enough time for Rayner to get first? Just as Kevin has predicted. Does Coaduti have it in himself to battle back and get back up the table? It's going to be a battle to the end, I do believe. Reagan looking to hound down on LH44, who is storming away with 2.6. But Magnus on the inside. Wheel to wheel battle between these two drivers. And there's a little bit of contact. Did look like a racing incident, but I'm sure replays may show one way or another. There was space for both cars and they just touched on the corner. So that put Reagan down to 8th and opens up the whole battle. So Rayner now in 3rd, Coaduti in 4th. Coaduti sucking the exhaust of Rayner. Hope you like what how that tastes like, Coaduti, because it looks like you're going to be there all the way through to the end of the race again. So these 4 drivers were the top 4 at the end of last race, all in a different way round. So LH44 was 3rd last and now he's 1st, so fantastic to see. So it's just swapping the teammates over really. LH44 is making up so much space between himself and Magnus behind. Rayner closing slowly down on Magnus, and Coaduti still there behind Rayner. I wouldn't want to be the person who I wouldn't want to put any money on this race, because I know fine well it could go any way and I'd end up losing my money. Dragon on Speed up 5 places, doing really well in 5th. Belguim is down 4 places, but that is the 4 drivers that passed him were top running drivers. Coaduti has managed to pass Rayner on the Kemmel Straight. This battle is far from done. Now, Coaduti is the faster racer between himself and Magnus. Would the team be screaming at Magnus to tell him to give that place to Coaduti? Because it is not looking like LH44 could be caught in this race right now. And we got a cry out for rain. We've got Magnus with a 3-second penalty, but what that does for Magnus now is basically gone. Yeah, I'm holding P2, slowing you all down, but I've got a 3-second penalty, so I'm going to finish off behind you anyway. Magnus here should open the door, allow Quadruti through, giving Quadruti the best opportunity to be taking it to LH44. I think that a little bit of contact between teammates. I think that was Magnus trying to get back onto circuit, just touches Quadruti a bit too much. But Rayner and Dragon on Speed is closing quickly on to Quadruti. And Belguim Cardiff is not far behind. What Magnus will need to do now is do the team player job and hold off Rayner, giving Magnus the giving Quadruti the best opportunity to stay in front of Rayner. But Rayner, quite patient. He will make that move count when he needs to make it move. When he needs to make that move. Very cunning is Rayner with his racecraft. So now we're on lap 7 out of 9. LH44 storming ahead by 7 seconds over the racer behind. Quadruti, Magnus right behind. Rayner, Dragon on Speed, and Belguim Cardiff. Reagan's not far behind either, and then you got Apex, correct Savant in 9th and 10th, Throw in 8th and 9th, sorry, Throw in 10th, James 7th and 11th, Maverick in 12th, Carrot in 13th, Carter in 14th, Liam in 15th, and Sizen in 16th. And Sizen's been lapped by most of the drivers. And looking back on LH, you can't even see. It's I have missed a big moment. Rayner getting past. Quadruti must have spun out. Quadruti must have made a mistake, and I've completely missed it. Focusing on other drivers. I do apologise. I would love to have seen that, because that is given an ART 1-2. I'm just glancing at the sound to see whether Rayners making speed, as Dragon on Speed has made the move on Quadruti. Magnus answers back, and I think Dragon on Speed has spun out. A bit of contact with the inside wheel of Magnus has made Dragon on Speed spin out. Provisionally could have got third, and Quadruti's battled his way back up. Magnus, brilliant team player there, opens up, giving Quadruti the race in position. A 3-second penalty for Quadruti for multiple warnings. It's a nail in the coffin for them. Those 3-second penalties just drop it into the leader times gap, and we're looking at out of 3 seconds, that's 14 seconds behind. So you're looking at Quadruti dropping in behind Regan, and Magnus dropping in further behind that. So LH44 is not going to be caught. He's on his final lap. Something disastrous would have to happen for that to be. Yeah, Kevin, you are right. Rayner with his pressure on Quadruti got the mistake. You are not wrong. Should have listened to you. Should have believed in what you're saying. I had a bit of hope for Quadruti. I thought he would pulled it off. But as you can see, It's winding in now. We've got Reagan making moves with battle with Magnus and Benjamin Cardiff. Magnus in 4th, Reagan in 5th, Benjamin Cardiff in 6th. But what we will be seeing is that these drivers will be sitting 4th and 5th anyway, 4th, 5th and 6th, with Magnus dropping down. Cochuti needing to open up a gap of 3 seconds to Reagan to keep 3rd. Doesn't look possible. I think Reagan's going to take that final spot on the podium. Leon has retired from the session, and that would have been in the pits. So here we go. We're on board of LH44 as he approaches the chicane. Last corner. And there we have it. LH44 in 1st. Rayners taking 2nd. Cochuti 3rd. Reagan drops down. We've got Benjamin Cardiff in 4th, Magnus in 5th, Reagan in 6th, Apex in 7th, Dragon on Speed in 8th for our final points position. 9th with Correct Savant, Jim Straff in 10th, Maverick in 11th, Drew in 12th. So that is the end. Ben could get P3. Yes, Kevin, he could have got P3. He could have easily got that. It was down to the wire. It was down to that with the mix of penalties could have opened up for Ben to get 3rd. But as we can see that our top 3, LH44 and Rayners 1-2 for the ART team, and Cochuti in 3rd. So our top 3 race drivers are in the top 3 positions on this podium. As we watch the champagne celebrations, we'll see how the scores are on the doors for the race in a moment. Fantastic effort from the ART team, which means that they are opening up that gap to the Prima team by a big chunk. Less than a second between Cochuti and Benjamin Cardiff. Benjamin Cardiff could have got 3rd if he just managed to get past Magnus a bit earlier and pushed into Cochuti. Cochuti did open up that gap. Reagan is 6th with a 6-second penalty. He was provisionally in 4th at one point. Could have got 3rd if he kept the race clean. Penalties, big factor here. 12 seconds for Drew, which was a massive, because taking 12 seconds off, that would have been 33 seconds, which would have brought him into the point, maybe into the points. No, he would have been in 10th. So it does make big differences, penalties, so you do need to keep your race clean. But that is the end of rounds 17 and 18 of Rayners Racing League. That was the F2 Championship. Look forward to our next race, which forecasted just after Christmas. Just bear with me one moment. I will tell you where we're going.